Hello, hello, and welcome to Fine I'll Talk About It, the podcast where we say the quiet parts out loud. Real talk, straight to the point, no fake positivity. I'm your host, Danielle Young, and today I'm joined by Jacquie Grillon. Jacquie is a trained counselor, speaker, and healer. She specializes as a facilitator and guide and is an expert in inner self alignment and personal transformation. On today's episode, we are talking about the realities of healing from trauma, the importance of doing your own inner work before helping others, and the challenges and lessons learned from navigating therapy, coaching, and personal growth. Jacquie, welcome to Fine. I'll talk about it.
Thank you so much, Danielle. That was an beautiful introduction, and I'm very excited to have this conversation and get in, deep, and we'll deep dive into all of these things
Yes.
because like we were talking about off air, we both had to go through our own traumas and healing and work with great therapists or coaches or whatever we've worked with. And I've worked with lots of different people through lots of different things. And I feel like all have a place, but you also, until you get a solid sense of self, you may not know what that place or that person looks like. And so that's where I think it gets a little scary out there when you're taking somebody as the end all be all for your complete healing when it really is an inside job, but I also need outside help kind of
Right.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, why don't we start off with you just telling us a little bit about you, your background, and what led you to this topic that we are going to dive into today? And I'm so excited to as well.
All right. Well, I mean, listen, in the beginning, I came from a family that I thought was normal. And of course, I don't think anybody comes from functional. I don't think there's a functional family on the planet. And it's not until later on, until there starts to be problems or issues, or you are the problem. And, I was pretty much the problem growing up. So I was always in trouble and I was, basically not allowed to be who I was at all. And, and that was common for my generation where it was, I'll give you something to be angry about. I'll give you something to cry about. You kind of like, just be the good little girl kind of thing. So, I didn't sit well with that and I rebelled. And, there was lots of consequences to that, and then, of course, all of that led to drug addiction and, all the things that ensues and recovery, and then once I was conscious and I, was starting to figure out who I actually was and what I wanted and started going down that path, and I was seeking out healing in all the different ways, but the one healing I did not want was going to a therapist. I did not want to do mommy daddy work. That was not for me. I didn't want to sit there and dive into my psyche. That wasn't on my plan, but I did want to have peace. But if you asked me if I wanted peace on the outside, I would tell you no. Peace was boring. Peace was not a priority in my life. I thrived in chaos. I can still thrive in chaos. I know what to do in chaos. I know how to separate it all and somehow make sense of chaos. So the transformation just from that, where today peace is a priority, was the journey, and finding a really good therapist that when I walked through the door that she had, well, I didn't know that she had done her own work. What I did know when I walked through the door and I had my intake with her was that I would tell her everything about my life, which is something I never did with any therapist before that ever.
Mm,
Because I
wow.
felt safe, and it was probably the first time I ever felt safe in my entire life because she was able to do that. She was able to hold space, and I would later find out that she had done her own work and she took that responsibility responsibly.
Yeah. Which is super important. I mean, you're trusting these people with a lifetime of information that is very vulnerable and, is very deep and sometimes dark. And if I feel like if therapists haven't done their own work or if coaches haven't done their own work, then, how can they relate to you?
Not only can they not relate to you, but they can't hold space for you to figure out your own stuff. And that's the whole thing, right? Is that that's all therapists do is they reflect you back to you. They help you realize your own realizations and connect the dots, so to speak, or what have you. And if they haven't done their own work and they will say they've done some work and, you know, to like this level, and then you need to go to this level, they can't provide that because they have no experience in that area. Now, I'm not saying that, doctors and, psychiatrists and things like that are not educated, but there is something to say, being in recovery, multiple decades, there is something to say about that connection that you get with somebody who has lived experience through something, which is why I prefer like women doctors nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, I liken it to having a male gynecologist. I mean, they're educated and trained to know a woman's
Right,
body, but they
but they
don't
will
live in
never know.
one. Right. They'll
Exactly.
never know
They'll
exactly what
never
we go
know.
through. No.
Yes. And why did I have a male doctor? I always had male doctors when I was younger, even when I had my son, I had a male gynecologist. And now I only have women doctors when I'm talking about women things because just like this entire topic,
Yeah.
because they get me and they know me. And even if they don't understand me individually, they understand women.
Right. And it's important to understand what it's like to live in a woman's body. Men aren't going to have the same issues that women do. I mean, they're not going to go through menopause. Like, come on. But they're going to tell me what I need to do to, deal with hot flashes. And it's like, yeah, great. You can textbook me, but
Yes,
you can't actually empathize with me.
correct.
You have zero knowledge of what this feels like.
Exactly.
So what
100% agree.
Yeah, it's so irritating to me. Let's talk about what other modalities have you tried? Because I know when we had spoken before, we're both pretty big on holistic therapies, the all-encompassing, not
Yes.
just solely relying on one modality. And I agree with you, talk therapy did not work for me. I did not want to go down that road. I ended up going down that road and I hated it, but it can work for some people and it's great. If that's you, terrific. But what other modalities have you found that helped you?
Okay, so in avoiding feeling any feelings, right? Because I would do anything not to feel a feeling, which is why I became a drug addict and alcoholic. And like I said, I'm not doing that mommy daddy work. That's just not happening for me. And in my quest to avoid all of that, which is exactly where it did lead me back eventually anyway, um, because all roads lead back to you. I tried everything. I went to energy healers and every kind of modality and any kind of therapeutic, what have you, chiropractics, Ayurvedic, like I said, a lot of energy healers, all different kinds and varieties and modalities, so much so that I got trained in every one of those modalities because I figured I will heal myself and I won't have to keep paying them all of this money every month to do all of this. And I did get relief. My body got relief in some areas, my mind got relief, but it was all temporary. It was kind of like, you're saving up money to go on a vacation or to buy something that you really want, and then you get it, and then it's like over with. It's kind of that temporary high or hit or dopamine, whatever.
Yeah.
And so it was never long lasting. And of course, the emotional pain would keep coming up. Unfortunately for me, different experiences kept leveling me and emotional pain was not going away. My life lessons that I came here on the planet to learn, if it's a life lesson, it's not going away until you deal with it.
Yeah.
There's certain things that you just need to be willing to deal with, and you don't really have to do any work on them. But there's other things like life lessons that you actually have to do all of the work on, and they're never going away. You can't energy heal it away. You can't, do any kind of holistic healing away. It's just not going to happen. So, like I said, somebody said to me one day, a woman, she said, "Do you want to go to this like women's group? We're going to get a women's group together." And I don't know why. It wasn't me that said, "Yes, I do." And so I went for an intake with my future therapist, and we had to do the intakes individually, and then we were going to do the women's group. It would be a small women's group. The intake was very thorough, a few hours or whatever. And like I said, the minute I walked into that office, I knew that I would tell her or whatever. I felt safe. I didn't know that at the time. I didn't even have that knowledge or consciousness, but I did. And the funny thing is the group thing never happened because all the women that were in the group did not want to commit. But the girl who asked me to go in the group and I both wanted to continue with her, so we both continued with her individually, and I stayed with her for years. I told her every dirty little secret I ever had, kept, thought, that I felt like a fraud, all of it. I told her all of it, and she held my hand, and we did walk through all of the mommy daddy things. Everything that I had been avoiding is exactly what I had to walk through to get to the other side, but deep diving into that and her ability because she had done her own work, she could hold space as deep as I needed to go. And if she had not done that, it would not have been a safe room to be in. And I wouldn't have opened up and I wouldn't have told her everything and I wouldn't have healed what I have healed.
Yeah. It's so important. And I mean, why do you think so many coaches, therapists, counselors, whatever the title is, why is it that they don't do their own work?
Listen, I can't speak to why somebody individually does not do their own work, but I can certainly speak to mine. Like I said, I would do anything to avoid feeling a feeling. So, and I also know from my own experience that that led me to becoming a counselor and doing all of the work necessary to become a counselor, right? What's the saying about like, the healers heal themselves kind of thing or whatever else. You
Yeah.
basically go after what you wanna do in life with something that you need to heal within yourself, So I became a counselor because I wanted to help other people. What I didn't realize is that I was helping myself so much more than I was ever helping anybody else, and I didn't realize that. It's kind of that, I don't know, oxymoron, I don't know what the word is for that, but I think you get what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
I think that with coaches, healers, mentors, they're all wanting to be of service. And I don't doubt the sincerity in their motives, but I also have experience of, paying people with very good intentions and their inability to be able to follow through on any, if all or any of what they promised. You know, campaign promises that they can't fulfill, unfortunately.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's so common. I mean, I've been there. I've paid thousands of dollars for someone to tell me what I already knew.
Same.
Yeah. And it's like, well, okay, now what?
Exactly. And not only that, what's the recourse? Do we have to take them all to small claims court? Because whatever they pitched us or outlined us or gave us a prospectus on, they didn't follow through on any of it, nor could they.
Yeah.
And when you know more than what you were paying somebody else to help you or train you in or what have you, that's when it kind of is, for me, it's kind of like one more on the pile. It's kind of like, when they had all the buy the course thing online and you have 18,000 courses that you never took in your laptop kind of situation. But when you're paying somebody thousands of dollars and they cannot do any of it, that's kind of scary. So they had a really good pitch and they sold you, and unfortunately they're selling other people. And it's one thing to say that you can deliver on something and then not, but it's another thing when you're taking, it's a couple $100 is one thing, but thousands are another. And I think the reason that we don't even go after it is because of our own, like, we should have known better, or that's just our life lesson to learn, or what have you. But I mean, if we were suing all of these people for all the, what they couldn't promise, I think it would be very different out there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like you said, I feel like most of these people, I would say probably 95% of these people, their heart's in the right place. They genuinely
Absolutely. I
want
totally agree. But
to
that didn't
help.
help, but that didn't get my money back, and that certainly didn't
Yeah.
get me what I paid for, and then what recourse do you have? Like, that's the thing. And
Yeah.
and that's not even the lesson of, I think, what we're even talking about. I think the lesson of what we're talking about is, if you haven't done your own work, and let's face it, there's always more work to do. There's
Oh, yeah.
more work that I need to do, you need to do, whether we choose to accept our mission, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But I'm not blind to any of that, and I know people are well-intentioned, but don't mess with people's psyches. Don't take their money. If you have really good marketing, but you have no substance, like, that's another thing. Like, I see people with, like, marketing budgets, but they have nothing. They have n
Yeah.
There's nothing real, it's all smoke and mirrors, but their marketing is so beautiful that people drink the Kool-Aid, and
Yeah.
it's scary because it's culty out there with the followers and all the things, right? And I'm not, like, the big social media queen by any means, but that gets scary because when they have a following like that, it really does become a little culty or cultish.
Mhm.
And if they're
Yeah.
drinking Kool-Aid and they haven't had any solid sense of diving into who they are, that's scary because now you're basically letting that define you. I lived my whole life before I started looking at myself and deciding who I am and who I want to be, was letting the outside define the inside. And it's still going on, even more so with social media.
Well, I know. I mean, social media just puts a spotlight on all of our insecurities. And there's so many people out there that I'm seeing, and some of them are very well known that have no background
Scary.
in counseling and therapy and doing their own work, and
Yeah.
they were lawyers or they were, accountants, and they're out here telling people you should do this and writing books and becoming cajillionaires over these theories, and
Yeah.
it's so dangerous. It's so dangerous. You're playing with people's lives, and
Yeah.
if you don't, I don't know, sometimes I feel like this whole social media thing, it's such a vortex of vanity
Yeah, for
that I
sure.
I think people only do it just to get their 15 minutes of fame. And then there's others that get more than 15 minutes, but it's like, how many people, and I don't necessarily know if they do this on purpose or if it's just, I want to believe there's no malicious intent behind it,
Okay,
but it
and
feels slimy.
yes, it is slimy. I mean, first of all, you just have to know if you even have any kind of consciousness of your own awareness, any kind of self-awareness of your own personhood, right? Your own human, and you go online, and I'm on a forum or I'm on a Facebook group or I'm on whatever with other like-minded people. If I leave that 5 minute, 5 hour, whatever interaction of being session of being online, feeling worse than I went into it with, then I probably shouldn't be in that group. But here's the pull with the because social media and marketing and all of the ads and well placed, matrix of that whole spider webby thing, it draws you in and it makes you compete against all of those same people. So of course you're
Mhm.
going to feel anxious. They want you to buy the things. That's why the targeted ads, and we're not even talking about mentors and coaches anymore, but that is part of it because a lot of those ads are that about how they can do all of these wonderful X, Y, and Z for your life if you just pay them $10,000. And the rip is it feeds on all of your insecurities, all of them. And if you don't have a solid sense of self, you feel terrible. You're like, "I need that." And then the marketing on top of it makes it feel like you can't live without it. It's kind of like the infomercials of the '90s, like, you have to have it right now, and you cannot leave the screen until you get out your credit card, or I have to do this. And
Yeah.
if you actually took the pause and got some space and distance between you and that screen, when you walk away from the screen, all of a sudden that I need to have it now isn't there anymore because it's like, especially with my neuro spicy brain, it's out of sight, out of mind. But in the moment, I'm like, oh my God, I have to have that. Or, oh my God, what's wrong with me? I must not be doing enough work because obviously they've done more than I have and all of that, and maybe I can learn from them, and I consider myself to be a very smart person. But then you sign up with them to help you with whatever X, Y, and Z that you want, that you're not confident in, that you want to be more confident in, and find out that it's smoke and mirrors, it's very disheartening to say the least. So, like, I am not the big social media, you'll look at my pages and I don't have followers and all of the things or whatever else. And I have friends and I have whatever. And I'm not a big poster, but apparently, if you're not on Google and if you're not on social media and you're not out here making videos, which like that little green light up there is not my friend. Like, I want to look at you during this whole recording. And I have for most of it, because you'll see if anybody's watching a video of it that I'm looking to the side because you're on the side of me. But like my kryptonite is that camera. I have no problem speaking, being in front of people, speaking in front of thousands of people at a podium. No problem whatsoever. But put me on this little screen with the camera. I just want to look at you. I don't want to look at the camera. What do you mean, look at the camera? What do you mean, post videos and tell people about what you offer and what you do or whatever? That's not my thing, but it's a necessary evil if you want to be seen. If you're not on Google, you don't exist, apparently, or if you're not on social media, you don't exist. And it's terrible because I'm guessing, like myself, there's a lot of people out there who have a lot of experience, hard earned wisdom, and plenty to say that other people actually do need to hear, that they're not going to be needing to get out their $4,000, 49.99 checkbook to do, but because of different things. Like for me, it's the insecurity of the camera, so that's my thing, so you sign up and you take a class on confidence on camera with all different people and whatever else, and you spend thousands of dollars. And guess what? I'm still not confident on camera. I wonder why that is. I wonder if
Yeah.
I got anything from that training, and was there really any training in any of that anyway? What
Yeah.
got done for that $5,000 that I still have no idea? And I would think that I would feel a lot more confident by now
Yeah. For
after a year of that,
for
but
5
I
grand in a
don't.
year, I mean, you would think he would be able to be on camera, but no,
Absolutely
yeah,
not. I
it's
mean, and like I said, it's one thing, like, I'm confident in who I am. I'm confident in the work that I do. I'm confident in all of that. It's the camera thing, and I'm just not. I still have no idea where I'm supposed to look or what I'm supposed to do. And I took a class with somebody else, and life changing, which I don't know that I want that because I feel like it's more of a cheat sheet. And this has nothing to do with our podcast, but they were like, "Oh, just get that plexi cam that like hangs out in the middle of your screen." And I was like, "Oh my God, why didn't I hear that from the person I had $5,000, whatever." Even if it's not an end all, it's a starting point.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been there.
But that's the point of our like conversation, only with coaches and therapists and mentors of people playing with people's psyches. That's a whole nother level. Like I spent $5,000 on a confidence on camera class, which is still relevant to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And
No,
I'm
for
no more
sure.
confident on camera than I was when I started. I still don't know where to look. I still don't know where to, hand gestures or, whatever, what to say, what not to say, media training. I don't know.
Right. What captions to put on, what hook to put
Yeah.
on. It's like,
What
"Oh, I have
clothes to
to."
put on. Right. Right.
Yeah, like, where should I film? Should I do multiple takes? Should I do 1 take?
Yes.
Yeah, I paid thousands of dollars to a coach who was a business coach, and they were like, "Okay, So you're going to post on TikTok 3 times a day for 30 days, and we're going to see how many followers you get. And I'm like, excuse, and at this time, I didn't have TikTok. I had heard of it, but I'm like, I'm not getting on TikTok. Both of my kids were like, Mom, please don't get on TikTok. Like TikTok, it's not good. Don't get on there. And I'm like, well, but they're telling me I have to, and I paid 20 grand for this training. So,
Girl,
yeah, I know. And their whole strategy was post and pray. And I did that. I did
what do
the
you mean post and pray?
You post a video and you hope that you get interaction and you pray that people contact you. It's like I was so burned out on doing videos for social media.
Yeah, see, I already know, like, even when the confidence on camera debacle was going down, that was the whole thing. Well, you need to post, you need to post, you need to batch your posting, you need to do whatever. Like, I have a full-time job, and that is a full-time job. I don't have people for that. I can't hire people for that. And like I said to you, that's not even something I want to do. Yes, I want to be of service. I want to have my message, my experience, my offerings out in the world. Yes, I do want that. But if that means that I need to post every single day or batch posting and have things being posted for me every single day, like that doesn't feel resonant for me,
Yeah,
And so, like, what are my other options? Like, what are the whatever? And I just don't feel like there was any other options being offered except for you have to post, you have to post, you have to post, you have to post. But I see people posting stuff all the time. That doesn't mean they're getting 18,000 million followers. I'm not looking to run a cult, like to have a million followers. Like, I'm not looking to have another cult. And I know that some of the celebrities weren't looking to be a cult either, like what have you, but they are, because when they have that many followers and you see it happen every day, like if somebody says something bad about that celebrity, all their followers go and like attack all the people that said something bad about them. That's cultish,
that is.
hurting mentality.
It is.
That's terrible. And I know that that was not their, what they were expecting or what have you. And I'm sure that they don't want that. But it is. That's the reality of what's happening with all the followers or whatever else. And, I'm not seeking fame and fortune and whatever else, but I am seeking for my message to get out there. And I need to do it in a way where I do feel confident on camera, where my life is not a slave to more burnout, like you said, posting and batching. Like, I don't want that. And now I have to like hire somebody to do that, like, but it's still me, so I'm the one who has to make the videos, and I'm not good at making the videos, so if I'm not good at it and I'm paying you to do it and you're not helping me do that, and we make a couple consolation videos at the end of it all to make you feel better, like, how is this serving me? And I still don't even wanna push the button to post it because there's a part of me that doesn't even want it out there. Like, I mean, I want the message, but I don't really want me. And they were like, "Oh, well, you can just, like, post videos of, like, a landscape with you just talking." And I was like, "I don't know."
Yeah. It's a necessary evil right now to do social media to build
Yeah.
business. And I hate it too.
Yeah.
I'm not a social media person. It's so bad for my mental health. I had to take a break not
Yeah,
too
that's
long
what I'm
ago.
saying. So that's where I have a kinda divide. Like, I do know in my heart that it is a necessary evil to put yourself out there. Like, I have no problem doing these podcasts and things like that. I actually like it because I'm connecting with not only with you, but with audiences, and that's great, and I'm not being a slave to posting something, and I have no problem sharing it and doing what have you. But I'm not like just going on a live being like, "Hey everybody, this is how not to be a doormat or a people pleaser or what have you." Or I go on and I'm just really vulnerable and be like, "Hey, I suck at being on camera and I really have no idea what to do. And I even paid somebody and I still don't know what to do. And here we are, so what should I do?" You think anybody's going to care about that video? I
Yeah.
don't think so. I don't think so.
I know. It's so disheartening nowadays. I feel like, a lot of us, like, I'm the same way. I'm very, very good at what I do. I'm a very good coach. I can speak all day long. Get me in front of an audience and I'm fine.
Yep.
But to do social media, I'm like,
Yeah. What
I'm
is
not a
that?
marketing person.
Yeah.
I'm not that person. And then,
Yeah.
the sales tactics above
That I'm
all of
telling
that.
you, and they have budgets. I don't have budgets for that, like, and it really is he or she who has the best marketing budget wins. And I'm sorry to say that, but that doesn't mean that there's quality or substance or anything else. And I don't know how, like my intuition or intuitive or, whatever, we all have our intuitive gifts, but mine is knowing. And I do know that my message will get out there and it will be on social media and it will be on camera. I have no idea what it's going to look like because as this conversation of in this second, nothing has changed, but I do know that it will happen, that the people's messages, the people who need to be seen and heard to get the messages out to the people, their life lessons, like whatever it is that I came here to speak out of or to share my experience with the world will be heard. And it will be heard online, whether I like it or not, right? Because that's where it's going to stretch me to grow. And the funny thing is I'm willing to be stretched to grow and I'm not lazy. And it's funny when the coaches say, well, oh, you're just not posting or you're just not doing this. Well, where's the coaching in getting me amped up or willing or wanting to do that? Because I'm still in the same spot that I didn't want to post to begin with, and I still don't want to post now. So where was any of the coaching to get me there? And, and then of course it's put back on you that you're not willing. And
Yeah.
I'm more than willing to do lots of things and to do lots of homework and things like that. But I also know myself. And if I'm being honest with you from jump, before I pay you any money of what I can, what I can't do, what I'm willing and what I'm not willing to do, then just tell me. Don't take my money. Tell me, you know what? I don't know if I'm the person for you. Just be honest. Just be honest about your strengths and weaknesses. I know mine. So
Yeah.
be honest about yours. If it were more transparent when we started, or hey, I don't think we're a fit, or hey, what have you, I feel like we'd be going in a better direction. But everybody is so terrified of any kind of confrontation. You can't have an uncomfortable conversation with anybody today because of who you're triggering just by your mere presence, let alone you opening your mouth, being a direct person in this world, asking for what you want or you need. It's like,
Yep.
whoa.
Yep. Yeah. I posted a video on TikTok accidentally, and it was a women's empowerment post.
Okay.
It was after comments were made by a certain very prominent figure to a woman. And I made a video and I just simply said, you know what? Enough. We as women do not have to take this anymore. If you have someone in your life who is speaking to you like this, you have a decision to make. You're either going to take it or you're not, and you don't have to take it. I got so much hate on that
Really?
post, so much hate. And you know what? It wasn't about the message. It was about my looks
What?
and what I looked like.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, where does, like, I have heard that. Like, I have heard that from other people that they post and people talk about their wrinkles or their
Yeah.
necks or their, age or whatever. And the message is getting lost in people just tearing you apart for what have you. And like, I don't understand that. Like, of
And
course,
yeah,
I have fears about posting online of being judged and things like that or whatever else. But I mean, anybody judging you about how you look is not there for the message. Let's
no,
get real. If that's
no,
all they have no time in their world better to do than do that, then I kind of feel bad that this is their world. If that's what if their life is being an online troll,
yeah,
and I say that, but of course, if they did that to me, I would be like, probably, with my rejection sensitivity, I'd be like, "Oh my god, what am I doing wrong? Because I." Can't really change how I look or.
right. And you know what? 33 out of 34 comments
Okay.
were negative from men.
Men. And you wonder why they were even looking at it to begin with. I guess the algorithm of whatever you were sharing about, it
Yeah.
made them wanna watch it. Like, what was the title or the grabber of the video? Like, what was the pitch to get
I
them to
don't
watch?
even remember. I think it was something like "What is happening now?" or something like that. And my friend, who is this brand genius, she was like, "That's probably what triggered the algorithm to go send it out to a mostly male audience.
And they probably were watching it like, "What am I watching?" And, of course, it's like we weren't, 20-year-old hot girls that
Right.
were and if you had the same message with a 20-year-old hot girl, they'd probably be like, "Okay," and
Yeah.
drinking her Kool-Aid. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting where we've come, where we have no attention span, we're instant gratification, dopamine hit kinda world we're living in, and it was all designed and marketed to us to become this. That's the scary part.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I can separate myself from that. But look at social media. You got lots of people drinking lots of Kool-Aid that's really scary out there. And we're not even talking about like mentors and coaches. We're talking anything, commercials, what you're buying, people selling their digital wares, hawking their things, thinking that they're going to become influencers overnight and have influencer money. Like, come on. It's like I can see the reality of that, but they can't. And look at teenagers. Come
Yeah.
on. That's
Yeah.
scary. It was
No.
scary when I was a teenager. I wouldn't want to be a teenager in social media world now. That's even scarier.
Uh,
I mean, talk about we already have insecurities and now you're
yeah.
going online and it's even more insecurities and now you're getting hate and trolled and everything else.
Yeah.
No bueno.
Yeah, I won't even let my kids be well, my daughter's 25, and I never let her get on social media at all, and then my
Wow, good
my
for you.
son is
I didn't even know
14.
that was possible to not have them
Yeah,
on.
no.
Wow.
I said, "No, no, it's bad for your mental health. You do not need to be getting into online wars with girls. If they can't say it to your face, then they don't need to be saying it." And my son is 14, and I don't let him on social media either. He's got
Wow.
his little online friend group, and
Okay.
they're gamers, and they talk about gaming.
Yeah,
And
no, that's great. I mean,
yeah,
because they're not getting the extra I mean, I know my own anxiety when I go online and I'm like, "Oh, let's go see what's going on," and I never leave there feeling better. Never, not
no,
once.
no.
And I know that about myself, but a lot of people don't have self-awareness until later in life. So it is kind of scary. I feel like that social media, just like anything else in this world, right? It's do you use your power for good or not good? I feel like obviously the money and the power and the marketing behind all of that, the motives are probably not good, and the people out there to just make money but like I said earlier, unfortunately, he or she with the biggest marketing budget wins in this world, which it shouldn't be, but that's what it is. That's the reality of it. But I kind of, call me like a hopeless romantic or whatever, about life. I feel like I'm always rooting for the underdog. And I feel like I said earlier that our messages will get out there. I don't know what that'll look like now or yet or whatever, but that knowing inside of me knows that it will, even with me growing through the uncomfortability of that confidence on camera that I don't have yet.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm
that's a
willing
hard
to
one.
do it. I'm willing to go through the uncomfortability to get the message out. Like that, I don't have a problem with. And that's saying a lot because I really could care less if I ever do that. I was always a photographer when I was a kid. That was like my hobby. And so I was the one taking the pictures, not being on the other side. I hate getting my picture taken. So, of course, I'm not confident
Same.
on camera. I didn't feel
Yeah.
confident within myself. And now that I do, I still don't want to be on camera.
Right.
But
No.
I'm willing to be, but I do need guidance. We all need guidance. We all need direction and things like that. And so we do look to people. And the other thing that really kind of pisses me off since we're on all of this topic and I'm just going to go there is what happened to mentors?
Mm,
I ask a question because I consider myself a mentor, right? I am a
yeah.
trained coach, I am a trained counselor. I've also have lived experience, so I could be a coach, but I hate that word, but I love the word mentor. And I think that I want to and I like the word guide because I feel like I help guide people back to themselves and their own answers. That is our job as a mentor, coach, guide, counselor, right? That is our job. It's to guide them back to themselves, not what I want for you, but what you want for you. What I want and what you want are going to be two very different things. But mentor, I'm kind of bummed out because when I was a kid, people had mentors that didn't ask to be paid or marketed or shared or liked or followed. And people did that because that was their way of giving back,
Hmm.
and in recovery, people become sponsors as a way of giving back to what was freely given to them, right? So I like that in that spirit of that, like mentoring people to like, if I called up somebody in whatever business I want to be in, and I'm like, "Hey, how did you do that?" A mentor would be like, "Hey, if you wanna do this, you gotta do this, or follow me for free and, whatever, and I'll show you," or whatever else. And I get that people get to be paid for their time, and, my time is valuable, and I get to be paid, and we should be paid and compensated for our time and energy in some way, shape, or form. But the spirit of mentorship, I think, is gone. Like, there is no more like, "Hey, whatever." It's like who you know, how much money you have, and you have to be paying them versus mentorship when I was growing up looked very different. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like an apprentice,
Yeah, or
you know?
something. Like, where
Yeah.
is that? Like, I don't like, yes, if somebody wants to hire me to, you know, to complete a task and it's something that I can do or a project or something for themselves or whatever else, sign me up. But if it's something where they're just asking me a question about my lived experience and mentoring or whatever else, I'm not going to be like, hey, go hit that $4,000 button. Like, you know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like, that's the thing where I feel like you can't even ask somebody a question anymore without them wanting you to.
Here's my PayPal.
Yes. Like, I don't get it. Like, and that kinda bums me out because the mentoring, that's how kids, when you're in school and, somebody comes, the fireman or the whatever, this is where these kids' dreams are. Like, how would they get to go to the next level? They would go to work or go, do a follow or a shadow with somebody for the day. Like, that's been in existence as long as I've been on the planet, and yet now you can't even go to a baseball game and go get a signature or an autograph, which was another thing when I was a child, for no charge. You have to pay for a signature now,
God,
right? Versus
seriously?
asking a celebrity for an autograph. Like, I think celebrities do autographs, but I think if you go to one of those like meet and greets at like a baseball game and whatever, you have to pay for those. You have to pay for the picture, pay for the this. You can't even go to Times Square and get a picture with the guy walking around in the Statue of Liberty costume without paying $10 now. It's everything is
Wow.
monetized now. Everything is
Yeah.
monetized. So I just
Well,
feel like we get lost in the monetization, is that even the right word?
yeah.
Of the whole thing, which leads us right back into the coaching and social media aspect of it.
Yeah. And I've actually seen this online too, where people are like, I just want to talk to somebody. I don't want to have to
Yeah.
pay for a program.
Yeah.
And every single comment under it is, well, we have bills to pay. You're paying for our knowledge. You're paying for the schooling. You're paying for the piece of paper that hangs on my
But the
wall in
fact
my
that they
office. And
even
it's
have to
like,
justify it, right? So this is what I would love to do, right? Like obviously, like I still need to pay my bills and everything else, right? So can I
right.
work for free all the time? No, I cannot, but that's why I work and I have a job and, and I'm a hustler and I'll get 5 jobs if that's what I need to do. But here's the thing, I think I would love to have like a call-in radio show, right? Now, if I was confident on camera, I would do like a call-in, whatever. They could ask me questions and I would do whatever. And it would just be like no charge, no whatever. And I could just like do whatever. Now, could I do that for a living? Not unless I was getting paid by the company that like, Sirius XM or something, to pay me to do that. Of course not. But even if that was like my service, like I volunteer at different places, right? It was just like my service to do whatever. At least people could benefit from that in a mentoring kind of way. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if our volunteering was giving back or mentoring in some way that's not monetized, at least the spirit of mentoring would continue. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Stay tuned for season 2 of this podcast because that's what I'm doing. I will be going live and answering questions because it is important.
Yes.
And I remember being a single mom. I had, when I left my abuser and I went through all of that, I had no money. I had no job. I had nothing. And I had a newborn baby. And I really needed someone to just pull me aside and say, okay, here's what you need to do. I'm
Right.
not going to charge you.
Exactly.
If
It's
someone
gonna
to
be
just,
okay.
yeah,
Right. To hold
someone
my
to just
hand,
hold my hand.
walk
Yeah. And say, you know what? I'm going to help you.
guidance.
Yes. And I didn't get that. And I
Exactly.
feel like, you know what? I have clawed my way through the depths of hell to get where I am today. And there's not a lot of people out there that are willing to do what I'm willing to do
Yeah.
to help
Same.
people.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
And it's really unfortunate. We're a rare breed,
Yes, I agree.
you know? I mean, I feel like have a program or something. And I'm actually going to be doing this in 26 with my business.
Okay.
Have a program where you have like a sliding scale or you take on so many pro
Oh, yeah,
bono clients a year.
I always have, exactly, like scholarship or what have
Yeah.
you. I never want anything to be about the money. When I've had money and I've had no money, and I've been fine with both, but I love the spirit of when things are, "Please don't make it about the money. If I can help you, then let me help you." If I'm
Yeah.
not going to hold whatever gifts that I've been God given on this planet for money. Like, I'm not going to do that. Like, do you know what I'm saying? If somebody
Yeah.
needs something that I can offer and they can't pay for my services or whatever, and I can offer that, I will, yeah,
Yeah. I got on a call with a business coach last week and she had originally wanted to talk to me about speaking. That's one of the things I do. That's one of the things that I'm
yeah,
interested in.
same. Yep.
And she just wanted me to enroll in her program.
Okay.
So she goes to the program and then the next question is, should I share the funding links with you? And I'm
And
like,
you thought you were having a conversation. You didn't know you were getting a sales pitch.
yeah. And I'm like, I'm
That's
sorry.
the interesting part about the whole thing. I've had those conversations and they're like, "Well," and I'd be like, "Hey, can I pick your brain about this?" And they're like, "Yeah." And you call them and it might be a friend of a friend and you start asking like, "Hey, how did you do that? Or how did you get into that? Like, where would my first steps be?" And I'm not looking to spend a day with you, but maybe have a cup of coffee and I'll buy, whatever. Just
Yeah.
help, guide me in the right direction since you've gone there, and the whole, well, I kind of need to be paid for my time thing. And I was like, okay, I can see where this is going. So you're not my person. That's all.
Yeah.
And I do believe, just like anything else, whether it's relationships, online, whatever, there's a place for all of us. There's a place for the followings and the cults and the people who need to follow in the cults because maybe they don't want to have their own sense of selves. There's the people who are better at confrontation than not. But in today's world, let's face it, most people don't want to deal with it. That's why
No.
ghosting is a thing.
Yeah.
Especially ghosting in business is a thing, which apparently I didn't even know was a thing because I wouldn't have a business if I ghosted. But it is a thing. It is a thing. And I really do now know that it's their inability to deal with the confrontation or to have the uncomfortable conversation. And unfortunately, real relationships of any kind, business or personal, require uncomfortable conversations if you're to have an honest relationship or one that you value. You're going to have the uncomfortable conversations.
Yes. And especially if you're dealing with healing trauma, you're definitely
Absolutely.
going to have those uncomfortable
Lots of
conversations.
uncomfortable conversations.
Yes. A lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. And I think some people just aren't prepared for that.
No.
You know, they need that external validation to feel good about themselves. And
Yeah.
that's why they get on social media. That's why they look for those people who they can connect with, but don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
Like the very famous people that we all know, we've all heard
Yeah.
of.
Right.
They can go to their page and they can take the surface level stuff and they can try to apply it to their life, but then they're just bypassing everything in between. And it's like, okay, just because they have a podcast and they write books and they have great marketing skills and they have a whole marketing team doesn't necessarily mean that they know what the hell they're talking about
Yeah.
and that they're there to actually help you. They don't
Yeah.
even know you. They don't know you exist, but you're taking
Exactly.
everything from them and just absorbing it and you're leaving stuff on the table. We're never going to it's just it's re-traumatizing with a bow on it, basically. It's like you're giving yourself this gift, but yet you're just going to keep re-traumatizing yourself from it because you're not actually healed.
Well, that's just like, every toxic relationship I ever had. I kept going for it like, I'm in love. And then only to find out, like, no, you're in another one sided toxic relationship and you're doing all the work. And, you have to go through a bunch of them and put your hand on the fire however many times until you char it off before you get that lesson. And so I don't know what people's life lessons are, but, I mine have been very much revealed to me, and I've gotten leveled from them time and time again, which is why I've had to do so much work because of the emotional pain of avoiding all of that stuff. So, somebody told me a long time ago, right? It was suggested like, I need you to call 5 people a day, and if you have a problem, I want you to call at least 3 people. And I'm like, "Why?" And they're like, "Because, like, especially with the 5, it was like, because, the first 3 people are gonna tell you what you wanna hear, and the next 2 are gonna tell you what you need to hear, and you're always gonna go to the people that are gonna tell you what you wanna hear." So I would imagine what you're talking about, even online, is if you want something to support what you believe, even if it's wrong, you're gonna go find evidence, just like with the guy thing, right? If I
Hmm.
wanted to see if they were cheating on me, I always found evidence. But should I have really went down that path?
Yeah.
I should have never been in the relationship to begin with, but there's always gonna be you can if you go digging, you will find somebody who will tell you what you wanna hear all day long, and go online, you'll find somebody to support it. That doesn't mean that you're progressing in why you're here on the planet, but you'll find somebody to co-sign your crap for the rest of your life.
Right.
But if you when your stuff starts coming up like mine did and you're in emotional pain, at some point you're going to have to deal with it. And that's the thing. Unless and until you have emotional pain, most people are never going to deal with any of that. And if they can medicate it or social media addicted away, whatever it is that they don't have to feel a feeling, and I'm the queen of wanting to feel a feeling, then why would we fix it?
Right.
Especially if I have somebody co-signing my stuff. It's not until you kinda wake up and you're like, "Oh my god," and you're left with yourself that you start looking for the uncomfortable. You start getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. You know the truth of things even though you don't want to know the truth and you don't want to do the work required to be the human you are being asked to be, to step up and to rise to be. So it's easier to medicate, and unfortunately, that's the world we live in.
Yeah. Very, very true. Well, this has been a very enlightening conversation. Thank you so much for coming on. If someone wants to find you, work with you, where can we find you?
So my new website is JackieInspires.com. And I'm sure if you Google me, you'll find me on social media and what have you. And yes, I do go online, even though I'm not a big poster or what.
In other words, don't look for videos anytime soon.
Yeah. I mean, no. I mean, hopefully, if I get inspired by somebody who can guide me to do something where it fits into my life and I still
Yeah.
get to have the message get out there in a way that's manageable for me, but not if it's a full time job and I already have a full time job, that automatically makes my brain, my neurospicy brain get overwhelmed and shut down and I go to instant no. So why I'm not even gonna pretend to say yes to something like that because that's a letdown for me.
Yeah. And I will put your website in the show notes. Hopefully we can get you on the other side of that confidence in
On
video
camera
thing
thing.
and start, making videos. I
I
guess
know
it
it's
could kind of be
happening.
fun, but there's a part of it that
Yeah.
is kind of a drag. I mean,
It's not fun yet. I mean, I don't
yeah.
know if it'll ever be fun, but I do know, like I said, my knowing knows that it's going to happen. I don't know what it's going to look like, but eventually, just like anything else, right? Confidence is a feeling. So the more I do it and the more I practice and the more I do allow maybe it to be fun, maybe I can say that to you and be like, Danielle, you know what? It's fun now, but
Yeah.
it's not fun yet.
I know, I'm right there with you. I'm like, this is not fun. It's so stressful and it's so
Yeah.
time consuming, and it's just what's going to go viral? What are people going to see? Nobody's liking it. I mean, there's so much that goes
I
into it.
Yeah, maybe it's not the point. Maybe the point is to just, or for me anyway, is to just I just want whatever messages I feel called to be put out there for whatever inner calling that I feel, that they get out there to the right people. And I would imagine the universe has its own motives that it will. And I don't know what it's going to look like, but it's going to push me and make me grow to figure it out. That I do know.
Yeah. Yeah, pick up the phone whenever you have a thought, whenever you're inspired, and just make a video. Who cares about aesthetically what it looks like, and just post it. And
Yeah.
you know, yeah,
Yeah, maybe that
it's
will become like second nature. It's definitely not like, oh, let's make a video of this can help somebody right now. That's never my
yeah,
thought, to make a video. Maybe to tell somebody or to write it down, but not to make a video. But
yeah,
maybe one day it will be second nature.
yeah. And maybe I'll have you back, and we'll go live.
Yeah, I would love that. See, I'm great with that. I am great on the fly. I am
Yeah,
great with questions. You can put me on the spot. I'm good with all of that.
yeah. No, I mean, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm barely finishing recording season 1 right now, so we'll see what season 2 holds. But I would love to
I
have
love
a
that.
panel of people come on and just have people call in and ask questions and go from
And
there.
be mentors or
Yeah,
guides or what have you for no money.
yeah, yeah. No,
What a concept.
I know. I am all about helping the human cause, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I wish people were there for me, right? Which is probably why we feel so deeply in our like souls that we need to do that, because we didn't get that guidance and we didn't get that direction, that we feel the need to at least offer it.
right. Getting advice and getting help should not be a privilege. It should not be a luxury.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't have to click a button and like spend your life savings to get it either.
Right. No one should have to cash in their 4K or take out a
Absolutely
loan or
not.
remortgage their house to be
Yeah, to
able
become a
to.
better human or to get through a
Yeah.
situation. I know. I agree. Totally
Yeah.
agree.
It sucks. The moral of the story is if you go to a coach and they tell you about their program and then they're like, so do you want to see the funding options? Click
They
end
might not be your
call.
coach, right? If they're not even
Yeah.
willing to take the time on the what's that? I can't. My brain isn't working. Like the consultation call, your free consultation call, to at least feel connected. They're probably not your person.
Yeah. I know with mine, I offer 30-minute, virtual coffee chats is what I
Same.
call them.
And we
It's
go
like,
deep. And if I can help you with anything in that time,
yeah,
I'm down. And maybe I don't hear from you again, but I feel like a better human when I get done.
right. Yeah. Same. Absolutely. So, well, thank you so much for coming on today. And thank you for hanging out with us on Fine, I'll Talk About It. If today's episode got you thinking, hit follow or subscribe so you don't miss what's next. And if you want more real talk, more perspective shifts, and more finally someone said it moments, leave a quick review. It helps other people find the show. You can connect with me on Instagram at Inspired Action Wellness or my website, inspiredactionwellness.com, for more conversations like this. We will see you in the next episode.